Good morning and happy Monday from your Monday morning lawyer. This is attorney Jobeth Bowers here live from my Elkton, Maryland office. Your accident and injury guy coming at you with another exciting podcast episode. We are continuing our series on scams this week. This week, we're going to focus on a couple of common scams that target businesses, small and large, I would imagine. But first, a couple of things. Number one, it is summer. So I want to give any of our current clients or people who even might have new cases that are calling in a little bit of a heads up that we are here at Bowers Law on summer hours. And summer hours are not that much different than our regular hours. It just means that we close up shop and head home midday on Fridays. We want to give our office staff and attorneys here a little bit of extra time this summer with their families. That way, if people are traveling, want to make trips or stuff like that. So if you've got business with our office, call us anytime during the week, Monday through Friday, or including the mornings of Friday. But unless you are calling about a brand new accident case for the very first time, you're probably not going to be routed to one of us if you call in the afternoon on Friday. So please do your business Monday through Thursday or Friday mornings. We will be doing those until the end of August when school starts back up. Also, I want to remind everybody about the upcoming fundraiser show that is happening in Elkton, Maryland. This is a fundraiser, a benefit show for Live Like Jen. For anybody who somehow does not already know, she is battling stage 4 cervical cancer. She's exhausted most of the options for medical care that health insurance will pay for. So this is one of a handful of events that have happened over the past couple of months and will continue to happen to benefit so she can get some of that care that is not covered by health insurance. If you go to betweentwominds.com, you should be able to see a link to get tickets for that. It is next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. at Singerly Fire Company. Singerly Fire Company is working with us to make sure that we can maximize the contributions to Jen. We also have a bunch of other fantastic sponsors who are on the ticket page. I'm not going to name names only because they update as more people jump in and decide to sponsor it. They have made it so that it is possible for us to give 100% of the ticket price to Jen for that medical care and that medical treatment. It is a mind reading and hypnosis show. It's going to be a ton of fun, even if you've already seen it for another show or another benefit, which, a lot of those are happening over the county and in the area. You already know that it is a fun show that is different each and every time we do it. So yeah, check that out. And without further ado, I want to get into, again, we've talked about scams all month. We talked about consumer scams last week we talked about scams that target either entertainers or events. And we kind of touched both sides of that, whether or not you're attending an event or wanting to attend an event or see somebody scamming you to try to sell tickets that they don't actually have, or onto the entertainers. Next week, we're going to talk about elder law scams. All right. Ways to make sure that older folks are taken care of and have their affairs in order. And we're going to have a special guest, an attorney who does estate planning and has seen and helped people thwart a lot of these. But this week, we are talking about business, baby, business. All right. 3 common scams I'm going to talk about today, unless somebody jumps something in with a question in the private chat. We will try to address that if it's on topic. If you've got something that you put into the private chat that doesn't apply, we're going to try to get that knocked out in a future episode. But I'm an attorney. I run Bowers Law, as you know. So I'm going to talk to you about 3 scams that not only happen commonly, but that my office has been targeted for at least once, if not more. And there is one central theme to the scams that I'm going to talk about today. They all come in different shapes, size, and format, but we're going to peel back and talk about why these scams work and how they are psychologically targeting businesses and what the real end game is for the scammers. And they all hinge, everything I'm going to talk about in one way, shape, or form today hinges on a concept called the law of averages. Okay. The law of averages is a sales tactic or concept. It talks about the fact that, let's say that you're going door to door or business to business, or, if you're trying to meet new people in a social setting or whatever, is that you may have to try and fail a number of times in order to go out there and get yeses. If you are going door to door, number one, a bunch of those doors aren't going to be answered because people aren't home. More and more are not going to be answered because people are ignoring you. And we have newer things like Ring cameras that allow us to see who's at our door without going up to our door, being undetected. But if you go through 100 of these, one or two people might actually say yes to you. The basis of the scams that I'm talking about today are that concept, that law of averages concept. We are going to take a shotgun and we are going to blast out this attempt to ruse these businesses into sending us money. And we're only looking at like a 2% hit rate for success, first and foremost. And I believe this is a highly targeted lawyers, doctors, and other, professional organizations. But I know that this happens everywhere. This happens in the trades, all sorts of businesses, every so often. Congratulations. You are such and such, insert your state here, top whatever your profession is. And sometimes they even will drill down and make these even more precise. So I have received, you are Maryland's top lawyer under 40 or whatever it might be, or all of these different accolades, if you will, are designed. These are all just a shotgun blast, a phishing mission, if you will. The scammer, I'm not actually the scammer, but let's put myself into the seat of that scammer. I'm going to go and just mine a bunch of data for a bunch of businesses that are in a category. All right. It doesn't matter what is ice cream shop. All right. And then I'm going to send them all either an official looking letter or an email or whatever it might be, maybe both. Congratulations. You have been selected as Nebraska's top ice cream parlor. Again, it doesn't matter what it is. If you want to accept your award, go here. Oh, and by the way, we've got these nice little plaques that we want to give you to hang into your shop so that you can share this accolade with all of your customers, because they want to know when they're walking in the door that I'm at Nebraska's top ice cream shop or Maryland's top law office or whatever it might be. Okay. The Mid-Atlantic's #1 HVAC company. All these folks are trying to do is sucker you into paying way too much money for a plaque for an award that doesn't exist. And that all of this hinges upon the law of averages. Okay. I am going to send this letter out and it's going to look super official and super great. We're going to have a really nice website that shows, who's who in the restaurants of the Eastern Shore. Congratulations. You are in our top 5, our top 10, or whatever. Buy the plaque for $300. Buy the certificate to frame and put in your restaurant so that people can see, because we all love to be awarded and show off those awards. All I need, I'm going to send this out to 1,000 restaurants. Other than the name of the restaurant, each and every one of these letters is going to look exactly the same. And then and here's the thing. They will actually produce and send you this plaque. So you're going to get what it is that you're expecting to get. But it's not a real award. It's all a phishing mission that's designed to get you to pay them $300 for something that they're going to spend more money to ship to you than they actually spent to produce it. They're going to spend like $5 on this thing and another 10 to mail it out to you. And they're going to charge you $200-300 for it. And sure, they're going to list you on their website, whatever. Not that, why would you pay $300 just to be listed on somebody's website? Because there's nothing out there that has normal people going to that website to say, hey, where are the top restaurants on the Eastern Shore? Where's that great, who are the top ice cream shops in Nebraska? The best law firm in Elkton, whatever it is. These scams come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Sometimes every so often newspapers in your area, and this applies wherever you are. Newspapers in this area are going to do their best of once a year, twice a year. I feel like they just keep doing them more and more frequently. Sometimes they used to start in October. Now you're getting solicited for running ads to promote yourself in June. Again, not naming any names because these things happen everywhere. And they all embark upon selling ads, selling posters, selling whatever the heck they're selling you. And none of it's real. It's all fixed on the back end. You win one of those contests and you don't buy the ads. Guess who's not winning next year? You. So again, next one's going to go very, very similar, but this one's a little bit more intricate. This one involves a little bit more homework because, and this is so clever, so clever. Let's take that same list of businesses. All right, we're going to go into professional businesses, folks who have offices. So this is probably not going to apply to the restaurants and the ice cream shops, which I just randomly happened to mention. But professional businesses, law firms, doctors, even HVAC companies, any sort of offices, because this here is focused on businesses that are likely to have a large format copy machine. One that you would normally have, maybe you're leasing or renting it. Some folks even buy them and keep them in-house. This is how the scam works. It's a little bit of a longer con because they're going to go down that list and they're going to call up and say, hey, this is Jack from your copier company. I need to check something before we send out your next toner. And what they're hoping to do is get a receptionist or somebody that's kind of lower level, so to speak, less involved in the running of your business. Hey, real quick, and it's a super innocent request. Hey, can you just go run over your copier real quick and tell me what the model number is? Now, they're asking for a number that's printed on the outside of the machine, usually like embossed or something like that. This is not, I repeat, not any sort of private information that is, they're not looking for a serial number. They just want to know that you have, a Xerox ABCDX machine. And then what they're going to do is they're going to note that in their little database that says, hey, Bowers Law has Xerox ABCDX. That's the model number. All right. There might be 10,000, 100,000 offices in the US, in the world, that have that same model number. Okay. But they want to know so that when they go to phase 2 of this con, and the funny thing about this con is that my office just got targeted for it. Just got targeted. I could not be happier to be able to have this and show this to you. But here's what happened. Somebody called my office a couple weeks ago and said, same thing, go tell me what the copier is. And then about a month and a half later, so they give it a little bit of time so that the person who took that phone call and went and said, hey, it's, Canon IR, whatever, which is what mine is, and told that person over the phone, okay, great, thanks. And then nothing happens. So they give plenty of time in there, 2-3 weeks, a month and a half, whatever it is, to let it cool off. So nobody remembers even taking that phone call because all it is, they're not trying to sell anything over the phone. So my copier here in Elkton is with a company called Repro Systems. And my copier is cheap and everything is included. I pay $50 a month and then a per page thing. So if you're looking for a copier for a business, Repro Systems, I'll make sure that I link them in the comments on the YouTube channel. These guys are great. $50 a month and then whatever your copy usage is. So you're not prepaying that you'll never use like with some of these copy companies. all of the toner, all of the service, all of that stuff is included. I'm not putting this out there just to shill repro systems, even though they're great, but I'm putting this out there to let you know that the next step in this phase is to send you an invoice. This is an invoice from some company that I've never heard of and probably doesn't exist. I mean, sure, somebody's probably set up WT Distribution Incorporated, and that mailbox is most certainly real, because what they are looking to do, they've sent me an invoice. And again, as I mentioned before, all of the toner for my copier is included in my rental contract. They've sent me an invoice for $1,800. $1,800. This invoice is fake. What they are hoping is that the person sitting down at that desk is not paying any attention, has totally forgotten that they've even taken that call and given that information. It means nothing to them, and it shouldn't. But they're hoping that this invoice shows up and somebody else is just paying it. Maybe I take a stack of my invoices for all of the stuff and I send it to my bookkeeper, and then my bookkeeper cuts the checks, and the bookkeeper may not be familiar with the fact that I've got an included contract that costs me $50 a month. They pay this, boom, gone. Your money is gone. There's no recourse. One of the biggest problems with any of these ruses is that while our country and many of our states have great consumer protection laws, businesses, small businesses, even solo proprietors are not covered as consumers because they're business. There's not the same business to business protection as there is for a general consumer. So how does this work? They're looking to mail out 1,000 of these invoices and get 1 or 2 people to pay them. And if you think about it, if I get 1 or 2 people every week to pay one of these invoices, just one, you're making $100,000 a year doing nothing other than making phone calls and sniffing out the information on what kind of copier does this business have. This is garbage. That is not a real invoice. But if I pay it, my money's gone. The third one, very similar, different format. There are folks out there that are pretending to be a law firm. They are not legit. And they will send you, they will go and scan your email, or not your email, your business's website, and then they're going to take a screenshot of a photo that's on your website. And it may even be a photo that you have taken to put onto your website. All right. My website is run by a professional company. Any photos that are on it are either provided by my firm or they use a stock photo company in which they have the rights to use these photos. So everything on my website is above board, but that does not stop a scammer from sending me an email or a letter or whatever it might be saying, hey, you have violated copyright or trademark or whatever. You owe us money. We're going to sue you if you don't pay us money. And they do the same thing. This is a well-documented and is almost as old as the internet scam that targets businesses. If you Google this or any of the other ones, you're going to find tons and tons and tons of stories of this happening. It's totally a scam. You trust me, you would just get sued. You would not get one of these notice letters if you were actually violating somebody's copyright. These folks are crafty, though. They literally will do so and make it look like an actual law firm. We had one that happened to us 3-4 months ago where everything looked like a real law firm, but the phone numbers didn't match. The name of the, quote, attorney that was contacting us is nowhere on that firm's website. But they're hinging this off of a firm that actually does pursue trademark and copyright infringement. So it looks legit on the surface. But at the moment that you dig just a little bit, you realize it's not real. So all of these scams, all of these ruses all work in a very similar way where, again, they're looking for this shotgun blast. I'm going to send this out to 100. 1,000, 100,000 businesses, and I just need a few of them to bite. I just need to have a 2-3% success rate and cha-ching. So be vigilant, do the homework, do some digging, make sure you actually owe the money before you pay the invoice. Otherwise, there isn't really any protection for you. You would literally have to have the light bulb go off before the check got there, be able to call your bank and do it. You got like 2 days, maybe 3, to do a stop payment on the check. That's the only recourse you have to get out of this, because once they receive that check, once they cash that check, you are done. Your money's gone. Now, there are worse scams out there, but again, these volume law of average scams happen all day, every day to all sorts of businesses. So be careful out there. Double check, do your homework before you pay that bill. Obviously, if it's like a normal vendor that you always deal with and you owe the bill, pay the bill. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the sketchy stuff where people are making stuff up or giving you, accolades that aren't real. And those companies they make their websites look legit. They look really good. And they're going to show you people who have won this award in other jurisdictions. I have no clue whether or not those people actually paid the check or what they did or how it works on that end, what they do to make their website look the way that it looks. But it may just be a listing of people that they've duped in the past. I have no clue. But I would imagine that they actually put people who pay the money onto this website. So, like I said, be careful out there. Again, if you have questions for us, next week we're going to be continuing this scam series. We're going to be focusing on elder law scams next week. And then once we hit July, we're going to get back into normal law stuff. So if you've got questions, if you've got topics that you want us to discuss, info@bowerslawmd.com, right up there. Or just send something in the chat here, put a comment in YouTube on this video. Hey, I'd like to know about this. We may not cover it in the very next episode. If it's not auto accident related, it's probably something that I'm going to want to bring in another expert on and get their insight. So sometimes it might take me a couple of weeks to line that up. But if it's valuable information that I think more people need to know about, we're going to do it on the podcast. Again, that's every Monday morning, your Monday Morning Lawyer, 10 a.m. right here on YouTube or on Facebook on that live stream. And again, all of these get archived and are in the podcast section on YouTube. So be sure to check them out there. Have a great week. Be safe out there. And again, if you do need us for an accident or an injury, 885-6200. Now that number's over here. Running, we're never going to know. So have a great week, everybody. Be safe. Be well.